Hello students, today we are going to discuss about gametogenesis, in which we will discuss today about spermatogenesis. So first of all, let me define gametogenesis. What is a gametogenesis? So gametogenesis is the process of formation of a gamete, that means sperm in case of a male and ova in case of a female. Okay, that is from primary sex organs. Okay, and that is a testis in case of a male and ovaries in case of a female respectively. Okay, and gametogenesis in male is called spermatogenesis, and that in the female is called oogenesis. Okay, so gametogenesis will be further divided into two. Okay, if it is occur in the male, then it is called spermatogenesis because here sperm cell will be formed. Okay, and here in case of a female, it is called oogenesis process. In today's lecture, we will discuss about spermatogenesis, and oogenesis will discuss in next lecture. So first of all, let me compare in between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So here in this diagram is from the textbook, and just you have to practice this diagram. Okay, so many time from this diagram, so many questions, so many time it is asked. Okay, so it is very advisable to you to practice this diagram more than one time. Okay, so here just everything you have to remember. Okay, so let me compare these two. What is a spermatogenesis? This is the whole process of a spermatogenesis, and this is compared to this. This is the oogenesis process of a female. Okay, so here you shall notice about the chromosome number per cell. Okay, so here you can understand this is the diploid cell, and from here it is a haploid cell. Okay, so let me see what is a spermatogenesis. So spermatogenesis occur in the male. Okay, so it will start at the puberty age. So generally puberty age for male is up to 12 to 13 year. Okay, so up to 12 to 13 year, when male get the 12 to 12, 13 year, at that time it will be initiated. That age is called puberty age. Okay, so then a spermatogonia cell, that is a diploid cell, okay, will undergo mitosis and differentiation, and it will be form primary spermatocyte, that is also diploid cell. Okay, then it will undergo first mitotic division, and then it will form secondary spermatocyte, that will be haploid. Okay, so from now onward it will be haploid. Then it will undergo second meiotic division and it will form spermatid. Okay, so we can broadly divide this process into two. Okay, spermatid formation and sperm formation. Okay, so spermatid formation is the one stage of a spermatogenesis, and second stage is a spermiogenesis, which is called sperm cell for production. Now let me see oogenesis process. So here you can see this. Okay, this is oogonia, first cell, that is a mother cell. Okay, will undergo mitosis, differentiation, it will form primary oocyte. Okay, even it will start the meiosis. Okay, but it will not complete the meiotic cycle. Okay, and this is up to these will be completed before birth of a female. Okay, that means this whole process will be occur inside the womb of a mother of a girl child. Okay, means before born of a girl child. Okay, so during fetal life it will be completed, and before birth this whole process will be completed, and after birth it will be blocked. This process will be blocked, means meiotic process will be blocked up to the ovulation period. Okay, and now when it or she get puberty, at that time it will be further activated. Okay, and finally it will complete its next cycle or next stages of a meiosis. Okay, and finally you can see here adult reproductive life cycle will be shown, and then secondary oocyte will be formed, and finally when the secondary oocyte fertilize with the help of a sperm cell, then only this ovum will be formed. We will learn in detail each things, okay, in next lectures. Now let me initiate with the spermatogenesis in the testis. You know very well, testis is a main organ in which this process will occur. So in the testis, the immature male germ cell, okay, that is a spermatogonia, will produce sperms by the help of this process, that is called spermatogenesis, will start or begin at the age of a puberty. Okay, that is considered almost 12 to 13 year. Okay, mostly it is extended up to the 15 to 16 year. Okay, so broadly we can say that 12 to 16 year of a male. Okay, that is called puberty age. The spermatogonial cell present in the seminiferous tubule. So these cells, this specific cell which are responsible for forming sperm cells are present in the seminiferous tubule, which is present inside the testes, which we have learned already. Multiply by mitotic division and increase in number first. Okay, so first of all, the spermatogonial cell will increase in number before division of a meiotic division, and for number of cell it will be increased by help of a mitotic division. So before meiotic division it will undergo mitotic division first. Okay, an increase in number. Each spermatogonial sperm cell is diploid and contain 46 chromosomes. As it is diploid, it will contain 46 chromosomes. That is before the meiosis process. So here in this slide you can see the section, cross section of a seminiferous tubule, okay, in which we have already learned which specific kind of structures are present. So Sertoli cells you know very well, this is calling as a nurse cells also, spermatids, okay, secondary spermatocytes, primary spermatocytes, spermatogonial cells, okay, then outside of the seminiferous tubule that will be leading cells. Okay, then some of the spermatogonial stem cells, here you can see this is a spermatogonial stem cell, will develop into primary spermatocyte. Okay, and these primary spermatocytes will undergo meiosis periodically, not together, but it will be undergo meiosis periodically, one by one. Now what happened next? A primary spermatocyte complete the first meiotic division, and that is a meiosis 1. Okay, and leading to formation of a two equal sized haploid cells. Okay, now before that it was a diploid cell. Okay, now due to first meiotic division it will form the two equal size haploid cells, and now it is considered as a secondary spermatocyte. Okay, so primary spermatocyte will do first meiotic cell division, and as a result of that two equal size haploid cell will be formed, and each cell now it is called as a secondary spermatocyte. Okay, so here you can see secondary spermatocyte. So this one is a primary spermatocyte. It will undergo meiotic process and it will form equal size secondary spermatocyte. Each secondary spermatocyte is a haploid. Okay, and you can understand diploid cell contain 46 number of chromosomes. So here it is a haploid, so that will have only 23 number of chromosomes. Initiation of a spermatogenesis occur at the age of a puberty, as I already told you, and that is due to significant increase in secretion of a gonadotropin hormones. Okay, that is a gonadotropin releasing hormone which is secreted by hypothalamic hormone, which we have already learned in standard 11 chapter number 22. Okay, so you know very well at some age, at the age of a puberty in a male, what will happen? Hypothalamic hormone which is secreted is called gonadotropin releasing hormone, that is a GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone secreted by hypothalamic region. Okay, and as a result of that, the increase of level of a GnRH, what will happen? It will act on the adenohypophysis of a pituitary gland. This is a repetition, already we have learned in standard 11. Okay, so we remember this also. The increased level of a gonadotropin releasing hormone then act on the adenohypophysis of a pituitary gland, and it will secrete or stimulate the secretion of a two type of gonadotropin hormone, that is a luteinizing hormone, it is called LH, and second hormone which is secreted is a follicle stimulating hormone. Okay, and as it initiated secretion of LH and FSH, this will lead to spermatogenesis process to be start. So now let me see what is the action of LH and the FSH. Okay, so LH act on a leading cells. Okay, so be very clear about this. LH, that is a luteinizing hormone, will act on the leading cells, and as a result of that it will be stimulate the secretion of androgen, and as a result of that leading cell will start secretion of a testosterone. Okay, and FSH act on a Sertoli cells, that is a nurse cell, and it will simulate the secretion of some factors which help in the process of a spermiogenesis. So FSH will work on a Sertoli cell, whereas this LH will be work on the leading cell. Androgens in turn stimulate the process of a spermatogenesis. So by this way, the combined action, due to this combined action, this spermatogenesis process will be initiated. So now let me try to understand about how these all spermatogenesis process is regulated by using neuro and the endocrinal system. Okay, so first of all, as I told you, hypothalamic gland, okay, will secrete GnRH, that is a gonadotropin releasing hormone, and it will act on the anterior pituitary gland, that is the adenohypophysis, and as a result of that, this anterior pituitary gland, adenohypophysis gland, will secrete both the hormones, that is FSH and LH. Okay, and as I told you, FSH will work on a Sertoli cells which is present in the testes of a male. Okay, and as a result of that, the Sertoli cells is facilitate the spermatogenesis process. Okay, and then these LH will be act on the leading cells, which both the cells will present in the testes. Okay, one in the seminiferous tubule, inside the seminiferous tubule, and one outside the seminiferous tubule. Okay, inside the seminiferous tubule you will see the Sertoli cells, and outside the seminiferous tubule you will see leading cells. Okay, so as a result of that, what happened? FSH will induce the Sertoli cells, LH will induce the leading cells. As induction in the leading cell will start production of a testosterone. Okay, as you know very well, leading cells is responsible for the secretion of a testosterone, and as this testosterone level become high, okay, as this testosterone level become high, what happened? Due to increased level of a testosterone, it will negatively affect on the Sertoli cell. Okay, as a result of that, what happened? Sertoli cell, due to increased amount of a testosterone, it will start secretion of a inhibin hormone. This is also one kind of a hormone. Okay, what happened? LH induce the leading cells. Okay, as a result of that, testosterone will be induced. Okay, it will start secretion the testosterone. Once what happened? Testosterone hormone will be increased. Okay, and as a result of that, what happened? Due to high level of a testosterone, the Sertoli cell will get activated. Okay, and after activation of a Sertoli cell, it will start secretion. Due to high level of a testosterone, it will start secretion of a inhibin. Okay, and then this inhibin will react on the anterior pituitary gland, and it will stop the production of FSH and LH. Okay, so as a result of that, you can see these two hormone is responsible for switching on the process of a spermatogenesis. Okay, and inhibin is result of this high level of a testosterone, and it will be stop the process of a spermatogenesis. This will switch on the process, and this will switch off the process. So by this way, you can understand this whole process will be regulated. Spermatogenesis is nothing but is a one kind of a meiotic process, and you have already learned in standard 11 chapter number 10 what is a meiotic process. Okay, so first of all, this primary spermatocyte cell which is diploid will undergo meiosis 1. You know very well what is the stages of meiosis 1. Okay, prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1, all together you know very well now. Okay, so this primary spermatocyte cell will undergo meiosis 1, and as a result of that, you see here it will combined or converted into the haploid cells, that is the two haploid cells, and that will now call secondary spermatocytes. So as a result of this, you can understand two haploid cells will be formed. Okay, that is called secondary spermatocyte, and the secondary spermatocyte undergo the second meiotic division, that is a meiosis 2, to produce 4 equal size haploid spermatid. And finally, you can see here the secondary spermatocyte individually, you can see both the cell will separately undergo second meiotic division, and as a result of that, you will found 4 number of a spermatid. Okay, so finally here, what happened after the spermatogenesis process? Up to this, a spermatid will be formed. Okay, so this stage is called spermatid formation. Spermatid itself is an immature sperm cell. Okay, it is not mature sperm cell. For the maturation, it must be undergo spermiogenesis process. Okay, so up to this, whatever we have learned is just a stage in which spermatid is formed. Okay, but spermatid itself is an immature form. For the maturation, it has to undergo spermiogenesis process. So let me understand now onward what is the spermiogenesis process. So first of all, this is the spermatid. Now you know very well this is the end product of a spermatogenesis, spermatid formation. As a result of that, this is the haploid cell. Okay, now this haploid cell undergo series of reactions, you can see here. Okay, and finally it will look like this. Okay, and this whole process is called spermiogenesis. The spermatid are transformed into the spermatozoa, that is a sperm cell, that is a mature form and capable of a fertilization, and this whole process is called spermiogenesis. Now let me try to understand whole process of a spermiogenesis by using this diagram. So first of all, this form, a spermatid form, is a spherical. Okay, and you can see here Golgi apparatus, and near to the Golgi apparatus there is a lysosome. This lysosome will now modified and it will now call acrosomal granule. Okay, it will enlarge in the size and it will now call acrosomal granule. Okay, so these structures also important, mitochondria, centriole, but here spermatid shape will be spherical. And finally this is enter means Golgi phase will now enter into the cape phase. Okay, so this acrosomal vesicle, that granule, become like this cone shape like. Okay, and as a result of that it will look like a cap, and that's why it is called cape phase. Okay, and the tail formation initiated here. Okay, and in the center you can see the nucleus, and now it will enter in the acrosomal phase. Okay, and acrosomal cape here you can see. Okay, then tail will be elongated, and also these mitochondria start accumulating near the centerpiece. Okay, or we can say middle piece. Okay, so all the mitochondria in the cell will accumulated over here. Okay, that is called acrosomal phase, and finally it will be lead to the maturation phase, in which you will clearly see the acrosomal region. This portion is very important during the fertilization. We will learn in detail in next lectures. And this is the middle piece, which is having high number of mitochondria in there. Okay, and residual body also you will observe during this. And finally this cell will be, this sperm cell will be mature, and it will have tail, middle piece and head portion. So this head portion will have acrosome. Okay, you can see the size, that is a 5 micrometer in size. Then in the middle piece it will have middle piece. Okay, and it is a high having a high number of mitochondria, and almost its length of a middle piece will be 5 micrometer. Okay, and then principal piece here, it will look like a tail. Okay, we can say this is a tail portion, and that will be 50 micrometer. So you can understand tail length will be very lengthy. Okay, if you compare it with the middle piece and the head
After
piece. Okay,
spermiogenesis, sperm heads become embedded into the Sertoli cells and are finally released from the seminiferous tubule. And the release of the seminiferous tubule means sperm cell will release from the seminiferous tubule, and such a process is called spermiation. So whole process of a spermatogenesis will be finished or completed by using 3 stages. Okay, and you can see here first stage is mitotic proliferation, that is an increase in cell number, that is a mitosis reaction. Then meiotic division, that will generate the genetic diversity. Then cytodifferentiation, what we called it as a spermiogenesis. Okay, that is doing the chromosomal packaging for the effective delivery. Okay, then here you can see first of all diploid spermatogonia will be there, that is diploid. Okay, firstly it is a peritubular myoid cell, okay, which will convert into diploid spermatogonia. Then spermatocyte in meiosis, so this spermatogonia will undergo spermatocyte. Okay, and then haploid round spermatid will be formed. Okay, this spermatid, here you can say this is the spermatid. Okay, the spermatid will undergo spermiogenesis stage, and finally it will be lead to this spermatozoa. Okay, and these spermatozoa after spermiogenesis will embed their heads into the Sertoli cell. You can see the structure of a Sertoli cell, how large it is. Okay, here you can see the large size cell, that is a Sertoli cell, and all these sperm cells are having head embedded inside the Sertoli cell, and finally they will release from the seminiferous tubule. The spermatozoa is a microscopic structure, and it composed of head. You can see here this is the head portion. Okay, then neck portion here, then middle piece. Okay, and this is the tail. Okay, so you can see here whole structure, and you have to practice the diagram. Okay, you have to practice this diagram along with the label. Whole sperm cell will be covered with the plasma membrane. Okay, so we can say that a plasma membrane envelop the whole body of a spermatozoa. Surrounding all the body of a spermatozoa, there is a plasma membrane. Now let me discuss about structure of a sperm cell, that is also called spermatozoon. Okay, so this is the head portion. Here you can see this is the head portion, this is the middle piece and the tail portion. The head of a spermatozoa contain an elongated haploid nucleus. Here you can see this is an elongated haploid nucleus. The head is covered by a cap. Okay, cape-like structure, and that is called acrosome. This head structure is covered with the cape-like structure, and that is called acrosome, and that is a modification of a lysosome. Acrosome is very important structure, and it will be helped during the fertilization process, and it is very important structure to enter or penetrate inside the ovum or egg cell of a female. Okay, the acrosome contain numerous enzymes. Okay, especially these enzyme is very important, and that is a hyaluronidase enzyme. We will learn in detail the role of a hyaluronidase enzyme in next lectures. Okay, other enzyme include proteases, acid phosphatases. Okay, main is the hyaluronidase enzyme that help in the fertilization of the ovum. Okay, that is a penetration into the ovum. Otherwise, what happen? This sperm cell cannot enter inside the ovum or egg cell. Okay, the sperm cell can enter inside the egg cell just due to the acrosome activity. We will learn in detail in next lecture. The middle piece possesses numerous mitochondria. You can see here, this is the portion in which there are so many number of mitochondria present. Okay, so middle piece possesses numerous mitochondria which produce energy for the movement of the tail. Okay, and you know very well sperm mobility is essential for fertilization. Okay, and for that purpose this tail is also playing very important role for the sperm mobility. A human male ejaculates about 200 to 300 million sperms during one coitus. So during each sexual intercourse, a human male will ejaculate about 200 to 300 million sperms during the coitus. For normal fertile male, it is compulsory to at least having a 60% of sperm, okay, which having a normal shape and size. Okay, so if less than 60% of sperms are normal in shape, then it will be considered maybe considered as an infertile person. Okay, so this is very important. At least 60% of a sperm must have normal shape for a normal, healthy and fertile male. Okay, and size at least 40% of them must show vigorous motility. This is very important data. Okay, so it must be very clear which male will be considered as a fertile male, healthy fertile male. So at least 60% of a sperm must have normal shape and size, and at least 40% of them or sperm cell must show vigorous motility for normal fertility, and otherwise it will be considered as a abnormal. Seminiferous tubule will release the sperm cell, and it will be transported by the accessory duct. After transporting into the accessory duct, the secretion of epididymis, vasa deferens, seminal vesicle and the prostate are essential for the maturation, and motility will be added to the sperms. Okay, so secretion of epididymis, vasa deferens, seminal vesicle, prostate gland are essential for the maturation and motility, and now it will be added to the sperm cell, and now these sperm cells will consider as a semen. Sperm cell along with all accessory duct secretion is now called semen. Okay, and the seminal plasma along with the sperms constitute the semen. So final structure which is formed is called semen. Now let me summarize whole process of a production and the ejaculation of a sperm cells. Okay, so first of all what happened? Sperm develop as a tiny round or a spherical cells in a seminiferous tubule of a testicle, and that is called spermatids. Okay, now this spermatid will undergo maturation process, and it will convert it into this type of cells having this tail-like structures. Okay, and that is hormones from testicle and pituitary gland will help in them. Okay, so as a result of their sperm will be mature, and finally now they are able to move. Okay, and finally they will travel. Now they are able to travel. Okay, that's why they will travel to epididymis first from the testes. Okay, from the testes it will be travel to the epididymis and develop further for several weeks. Okay, for several weeks here it will develop or mature, and finally migrate to vas deferens.
Okay, here you can see it will migrate towards the vasa deferens, travel to seminal gland, okay, where nourishment will be occur, and it will now called as a semen fluid. Okay, so it will undergo this process, and now all the secretion of accessory duct will be added, and now it is called semen. Okay, and then it will travel to the prostate gland, and now prostate secretion will be added to the sperm cell. Okay, and it will add the prostate fluid, and finally exit through urethra during ejaculation during coitus. Here you can see the composition of a semen. You can notice that sperm will have only 10%. Rest other 90% will have seminal plasma. And in seminal plasma also 60% will be covered by seminal vesicle. And here you can see the composition of a seminal vesicle, which will include ascorbic acid, fibrinogen, flavin, fructose, inositol. Okay, this all composition will be there, which include 60%. Rest 30% will have these products from the prostate gland, which include so many type of enzyme in that. You can see there is acid phosphatase enzyme, clotting enzymes, okay, lactate dehydrogenase enzymes in that, okay, and so many other composition. Even calcium, sodium, zinc like minerals are also present in that. Okay, some bicarbonate like structures are also present in that. So all these component will be found in the composition of a semen. So now let me discuss some medico-legal significance of a detection of a sperm cell and semen cell. All of you know about forensic science laboratory. Okay, what is done in that? So during rape cases, okay, sometimes sodomy, that is anal intercourse, okay, bestiality, that is a sexual intercourse by human being with a lower animal like dogs, cows and sheep, okay, attempted rape. These all cases, in all cases is a medico-legal cases, okay, during which semen analysis play very important role for case solving purpose. Okay, so the semen content is playing very important role during that. So forensic science laboratory will check all the composition, and they will realize whether this sperm cell or not. Okay, and on basis of that, some murder cases also, some lust murders, azoospermic person, okay, chemical test, all these will be solved by using this forensic science laboratory. Okay, and in case of false accusation by the woman also it will be solved. Okay, and incest, that is a sexual intercourse in the blood relation. Civil cases also solved by this. Dispute will be solved from this type of analysis. Okay, so here this forensic science laboratory having so many tests for the semen, and it will be play very important role for the solution of a medico legal
Your homework
cases.
for today's lecture, and before we finish this lecture, let me summarize whole topic by using one animation video. So look at this video.
An important process in human beings, involves the fusion of the male and female gametes called sperm and ovum. These gametes are formed by a process called gametogenesis. In males, the process of gametogenesis occurs in the testes and is called spermatogenesis, whereas in females, gametogenesis is called oogenesis and occurs inside the ovary. Interestingly, spermatogenesis and oogenesis begin at different ages. Spermatogenesis begins at puberty, usually between 12 and 13 years of age, and is divided into two stages: spermatocytogenesis and spermiogenesis. Spermatocytogenesis, the first stage, occurs in the seminiferous tubules, whose inner walls are lined with spermatogonia, the diploid male germ cells containing 46 chromosomes. Some of these spermatogonia divide mitotically to form two daughter cells. Of these two daughter cells, one remains the spermatogonium, while the other one becomes the primary spermatocyte. This primary spermatocyte divides meiotically to form two equal cells called secondary spermatocytes. Unlike primary spermatocytes, secondary spermatocytes are haploid cells containing 23 chromosomes each. spermatocytogenesis is succeeded by spermiogenesis, during which the spermatids differentiate into an elongated and tadpole-like spermatozoa or sperms. However, during this process, the heads of these sperms remain embedded in the Sertoli cells, which provide these developing sperms with nutrition. Post-spermiogenesis, non-motile sperms are released into the lumen of the seminiferous tubules by a process called spermiation. The lumen has testicular fluid that helps transport the non-motile sperm to the epididymis, where they mature and become motile. During ejaculation, sperm from the epididymis are transported via the vas deferens to the urethra in the penis. As the sperms pass through the different tubes, it mixes with fluids secreted by the seminal vesicles and prostate gland to form a mixture called semen, which is ejaculated by the penis. Did you know that semen released during a single ejaculation contains 200 to 300 million sperms? Microscopic studies have revealed that a typical sperm is covered by a plasma membrane and has 4 distinct parts: head, neck, a middle piece, and a tail. Inside the head lies an elongated haploid nucleus containing chromosomes. The anterior part of this nucleus is surrounded by acrosome, a cap-like structure filled with enzymes that help fertilize the ovum. The sperm's head is followed by its neck and middle piece, which is filled with mitochondria. These mitochondria break down glucose in the semen to produce ATP, an energy molecule that powers the movement of the sperm's tail. The formation of sperm is triggered when the hypothalamus secretes high levels of gonadotropin-releasing hormone, or GnRH. This GnRH acts on the anterior pituitary gland and stimulates the secretion of the luteinizing hormone, or LH, and follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH. LH, in turn, stimulates the Leydig cells to synthesize and secrete androgen, a hormone that triggers spermatogenesis. FSH, on the other hand, acts on the Sertoli cells to stimulate the secretion of substances that nurture sperm cells during spermatogenesis. While spermatogenesis occurs at puberty, oogenesis is triggered before a woman's birth.
In next lecture, we will learn about very important topic, and that is gametogenesis, in which we will discuss about oogenesis. So till that, goodbye.